Hello, welcome to SJU. It's a very, very delightful Thursday today. It's like an intimate SJU. It's a quiet moment that we're going to have together talking about the business of Hollywood with Spencer GIlbert.
Hey now, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Joe Starr.
What's the news in Tinseltown?
The news in Tinseltown, Joe. I'm so glad you asked. It's all about that streaming service. Yeah, it's about the streaming services, saving that Disney mouse. We were worried about the little guy. Oh boy, Spencer, get that coffee, man.
My first yawn.
We're going to dive into numbers,
Not my last.
So you better be ready because we're doing numbers today.
Wake up, because I'm doing this old-timey Hollywood character the rest of the show.
Please do.
Streaming's about as streamy as the LA River.
The streaming wars. Dun, 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 dun. News from Tinseltown. Netflix booms and Disney cruise. They're singing a song of streaming is saving the day over at Disney because I don't know what.
I feel like out of respect for Scoops McGee, we should just retire the old-timey Hollywood voice.
Just across the board.
Scoops isn't dead. Disney being saved by streaming. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. We've talked about quite a bit on this show that Disney was taking a hit in multiple revenue streams with parks and cruises and theatrical among them, and that what they really had was Disney. They had this Disney Plus streaming service, and that was essentially going to save the day for them a little bit. And actually, as it turns out, that's not entirely untrue. So the streaming service has been this lone bright spot. This is via The Verge in this time of COVID-19. So they actually, in this quarter, generated a higher revenue than expected, coming in at $18 billion versus $17.6 billion as expected. So there's some good news, but let's not go ahead and say everything's done, it's all over, we fixed it just yet. Most of the losses, as expected, came from parks and cruises and the studios. So they said the estimated cost on parks, the loss was about $1 billion. And now we constantly have to asterisk that this is to date. We really don't know what the long-term effects of COVID are going to be on any huge, large-scale public event, or certainly I think people are going to be eschew cruises in particular for quite a long time, because no one wants to be caught on the COVID boat again. So
the COVID boat.
Exactly.
The COVID boat.
And it's the same thing. We've been talking about this for movie theaters, but certainly for parks where you're just crunched up next to each other. And how are they even going to do proper social distancing? These are questions we'll get into. But there was basically so far about $1 billion in losses from that. However, the total, they estimate the COVID-19 impacts on the quarter, they say, from continuing operations before income tax across all of their businesses was $1.4 billion. So it's kind of a mixed bag in that they have suffered losses, but it's not as bad as they thought it would be. The streaming service Disney Plus has 50 million subscribers as of April. Now, of course, there was a boom in subscribership on Netflix as well, probably due to the fact that people are home. It's not that expensive when you think about your 4 sources of entertainment and things to put your children in front of if you have them to entertain them. It's not that expensive, but those discounts and those lower rates in the US are going to end soon, because they lasted about a year and rates will probably go up. So will people resubscribe if they're not delivering a ton of content, which it's hard for them to do in a world where production is shut down. So it's really a complicated scenario. At the same time, they're not in every country yet, and they already have 50 million subscribers. So there's more to do there. Partially that was helped by their acquisition of Hotstar in India, which gave them an additional 8 million Disney Plus subscribers when the platform rolled out. So those are the long story endless, but broad-ish strokes. So let's take it bit by bit. First of all, in terms of domestic, one thing that we can speak to, because we've been Disney Plus subscribers since it's been available here domestically, would you re-up if the price point went up, say, to $10?
Yeah, I think so. That seems not excessive. And I think that the appealing one that Disney has in their back pocket is like the Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN bundle thing. Like we're going all the way back, full circle, baby.
Bundles.
The streaming companies become the cable companies.
But we knew but that's inevitably where this was going to go.
Yeah. But I think that you do need like, $10 a month, like you're creeping up there. At a certain point, I'm going to want more for my dollar. And if you blend those all together in a Disney branded smoothie and make me drink my breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the same time with those three things, and I don't know where one ends and the other begins of my, say, $20 or however much it is that's split between those three.
And what if I throw in a landline phone?
Okay, I'm listening, Joe Starr.
I'm so old. I have a landline phone. You never know if cell phone reception goes down and there's an emergency. It's smart to have.
No, we have one too. So.
Yeah. Okay, boomer. But I'm just saying that.
Boomer.
I boomed myself.
Boom you.
Boom you. I'm just saying that I think that I'm sure it will creep up, but I think that they're able to offer 3 different streaming services together. And I think that could sucker me into like another year of paying for it.
Yeah. They also, like we've been saying, they're expanding globally. So there's still growth opportunity for them. And it's one of the things that people talk about with Netflix, where it's like Netflix makes a ton of money. They have a lot of subscribers, but they're basically in every country that they possibly can be already. So there's not a ton of growth opportunity there, though they did have an increase in subscribership at the start of COVID. And then Netflix also just doesn't have a lot of cash positive. Question for us is that given the decrease and the loss of revenue in parks and cruises to date, and we anticipate that will continue, I mean, will Disney start having issues with being cash positive?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna,
go ahead, Joe.
Oh, definitely. Even with the success story with Disney Plus, it's going to be a little, a year or two, I think, or maybe 3 or 4. It's going to be a couple more years before it's considered profitable, like in the green, profitable on its own. And that right now, it's still really kind of in its infancy, is expected to carry the company sort of through this crisis. So, obviously across the board, everyone's probably a little screwed for a while, but I think Disney specifically had this interesting bit of timing where they're the hot new kid in streaming town, has the IP to actually carry themselves through this a little bit, not like running strong Rocky style up the steps, but still, getting through it. A lot more so than I think like Peacock is going to be able to carry anyone, or really even HBO Max. I think just based on the catalog of Disney classics and Star Wars and Marvel. So I think, even as stuff starts to, as deals start to unwind, I think people will re-up. I'm definitely one of those weird fans who's just excited enough about the idea of a Cassian Andor show that I'm like, I'll stick around until you're able to shoot stuff again. Just keep dangling Star Wars side characters in my face and I'll keep batting at them.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the interesting thing with production slowing down. It's an interesting thing for Netflix because they've actually stopped spending as much as they normally do, because they're typically spending a ton on production, and they raise capital for that. And that's why they're sort of like always in debt and deficit spending. Disney has just raised a bunch as well, obviously, to help see them through COVID. We're looking at in LA right now, just yesterday, it was revealed that there's this 5-point plan to reopen Los Angeles starting this Friday, where you can do, this is an interesting one, little side topic, but like you can do curbside pickup for retail, which I think, like, I guess you just have to want to help local businesses, because that is super inconvenient as compared to like shopping online.
To make a poor 16-year-old kid wearing gloves carry my H&M jeans out to the parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, I the only thing that I can think about for that is like, you just have to want to help local businesses in order to do that, because it is not a convenience for
you got to know you got to know what you want ahead of time.
How do you know what you want though?
Pull up and have them open up the blinds and you have your
I hear you saying, but there's also a special kind of when you get to buy your weed curbside.
Oh yeah. No, or whatever it is, CBD, whatever Joe you do, and then I don't. Sure, but like, sure, like if you need towels or something.
Nice having your dealer come to your car in broad daylight.
Oh,
instead
good
of
God. Nothing.
Whatever gets you through, right?
If you need towels, you can go
From
pick
your dealer.
those up. God damn it.
They can bring an assortment of towels, different types of yarn
that help you calm down.
Maybe the towels are water-based hydroponic towels. Sure. I don't know.
Sure.
They're very cushy. Yeah.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
Yeah. Okay. So there's certain circumstances in which it makes sense, but I just read that last night and I was like, how do you shop that way? I'm going to do it with some of the local businesses that truly are like mom and pop shops that I like and figure out something to buy because I care about the local economy. But I think that's it. It's so after that, they're going to slowly start figuring out. I mean, you have to figure that the real plan here is they're going to see how many more people get sick and how quickly, and then figure out there's a ratio that's happening somewhere around that. But my point with this around Disney is that will apply to things like production as well. We've talked about, there's been talk. Do you know who's leading the task force to figure out how to reopen production in Hollywood?
Who?
Soderbergh, which is so Hollywood, because Soderbergh, of course, directed Contagion. So it's like, I just want to be in the meeting where you decided that, where you were just like, you know what? He directed Contagion.
That's a terrible idea.
It's the worst idea.
None of the leads in Contagion ever wear masks. So if
they all die, and they're very irresponsible.
Wear masks. Like, that's terrible.
Oh, I would say he's a good choice because he's made all sorts of productions. He's made enormous movies and he's made iPhone movies. Like, he's a guy who's flexible and knows a lot of different production methods. But yeah, it is kind of funny that they were like, get me the guy who made Contagion.
The guy who made Contagion. I don't disagree with that assessment, but it shouldn't be any of that. It should be Bill Gates, like someone that's just been studying pandemics for real for like 10 years.
Let him do the real work.
Something I'm assuming has to happen. And sorry,
maybe in collaboration with Soderbergh.
This is just a sidebar to the Soderbergh and the 5 point for LA, because I think we're going to get into the Czech Republic stuff in a minute. The Czech Republic has greenlit filming there again. So Falcon and Winter Soldier is shooting there and stuff. But as you know, as we're talking about what happens next and how do businesses recover, something I've got to assume happens is LA needs to make it a hell of a lot easier to shoot in Los Angeles, because I think there's a hammer coming down on them. No one's going to be able to afford how expensive it is to shoot here. And other locations are going to open up first. So even
not Georgia.
Well, no, not Georgia, but like the Czech Republic. Like there's so many a lot of people shoot in the Czech Republic. Like
a lot of people shoot in South Africa. A lot, oddly enough, there's some weird movies that have been shot in South Africa, like Last House on the Left.
Even places where it's like, we probably shouldn't go there. Companies are probably still going to go. You know what? It'll be fine.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Is that production will probably resume sooner than the world does, because places are going to come back piecemeal. There will be green zones and red zones, and they can go shoot in the green ones. If everyone gets tested, you can just go move your production to there.
Yeah, for sure. And Georgia's opening now, to be fair.
Well, but that's a terrible idea.
And I don't know that
you got to wonder if Tyler Perry's making people get tested at the gate.
Well, the thought. So one of the thoughts with around, and I presume, by the way, that Soderbergh is working with other experts, and that he's just speaking from kind of like what you need to do to produce a movie angle. Which, to your point, Spencer, he's probably like, you need tape and a computer, and everyone's like, yeah, you do. We need something more than that. But so I think you're right, Joe, and that's a really good point. And I frankly have been wanting that for LA for a long time, because it just really drives me bonkers. Yeah. And it's not because I don't want productions to go to other places and other places to have the opportunity to have those dollars, but it just really makes me crazy that there are so many people that move to this town that spend years being incredibly knowledgeable and skilled in many areas of production, and then can't get work because it's not here. Like that just drives me nuts, and it's LA's fault and it's California's fault. We had a movie star for a governor and couldn't figure it out. Like, make it incentivize shooting in Los Angeles. And whenever a director or producer insists on shooting in Los Angeles, I really respect it. There's I think I would Fight Club this man. He's probably my least favorite director. Don't you judge me, of all time. I'm going to get hate. But he made a movie called, it rhymes with Anne's Tormers. And but he would insist on certain amount of production being done in Los Angeles. So I do respect that. Anyway, to your point, Joe, yeah, they're going to have to figure it out. They've been talking about sequestering productions, basically the way they.
No one's going to have the capital to do it here. They're all going to get out of Dodge.
Can you imagine, though, if they lifted all restrictions on filming in LA, how you couldn't go 10 feet without running into someone's, film about like a struggling roommate trying to make it in LA with friends and family. Every 10 feet, you'd be pushing your way through the world's worst web series.
But every 10 feet, I see that anyway. They're just doing it illegally. Like I want the real productions to be able to shoot here that can't do it illegally. So it's like everyone that's doing it illegally, or Soderbergh with his phone, is every 10 feet anyway. So whatever. I love Soderbergh, by the way. Anyway, long story endless on that. I think you're right, Joe, and I hope they do sort that out. But it's probably going to be a long time of everybody that's not on camera being in a mask. It's probably going to be much smaller sets. It's probably going to be that everybody lives in a hotel and is tested every 3 days and gets their temperature taken and all of it.
Or it's going to be in the Czech Republic. I mean, why not?
Well, I think even if it's in the Czech Republic, they'll still have to take measures similar to that. They're not just going to be like, well, do whatever you want. Everybody get COVID.
A look at this.
And the reason for that is not because anyone cares. It's because it would be too expensive to shut down the production if there was a mass wave of COVID.
Yeah. I just thought that they screen you at the border, you sit there for 2 weeks, and then there you go. Come on in, shoot your movie.
So with the Czech Republic specifically, so Carnival Row is resuming shooting there, Falcon and Winter Soldier, over at Amazon. So they are testing actors. I'm assuming they mean everyone every 14 days. I would hope they mean everyone every 14 days. They have like pretty high sanitation standards on set. Foreign actors and crew members must have undergone testing at the time they leave their home country and will undergo a second test within 72 hours of arrival in the Czech Republic and remain quarantined until they receive a negative result.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, a couple of things about the Czech Republic. It's good news for them that they're going to have Falcon and Winter Soldier, because those Marvel shows are going to be the thing that also, in addition to the Star Wars shows, are going to be the thing that keeps people subscribed. And it's really lucky for them that they've been able to move forward at all with that. But I don't think everyone can shoot in the Czech Republic. Not all productions can move there. There's a reason that they're all over the world. So anyway, we'll see as this rolls out. But as there are delays in movies, there's delays in movies going to VOD, which will also impact every streaming service. Or you get some of the mid-range movies on VOD. Just release New Mutants. Give us this one win. Just give us this one thing.
Release the Snyder Cut, release New Mutants. We'll be happy.
We're suffering here. So parks are projected to be in serious trouble until 2022, which is not surprising. Again, I think the crazy thing too about all of this, and us even anyone talking about it, is just we have no idea, because right now there's no way to predict if this is sort of like a steady paced crisis over 2 years, or if there's people have talked about terrifying words like a massive peak, like a huge wave coming next flu season, or if it's just kind of like fits and starts. No way to know. And so I think the problem is if you go back into production on certain things and then that wave hits, then it crashes everything once again. So I feel like slow and steady definitely wins the race in this scenario. Good. When are we going to be together in person again? Do you miss seeing each other?
Not yet.
Okay.
This is plenty. It's like we never left.
Yeah. That doesn't hurt at all, Spencer. Not even.
We're literally hanging out right now. Do you need to smell me?
I don't.
There you go.
I do not. More on Disney Plus, worries for Disney in general, the monster, the unbeatable, the unstoppable. Do we think it's going to see its way through?
I mean, yeah, it's weird. Their strength is now their weakness of being so having such a monopoly over our thoughts and dreams. Whereas before the theme parks and cruises were going to pay for things like Disney Plus, now it's inverted and too fast for it to make up the gap. Like they were even saying internally that if things all went swimmingly and normal, Disney Plus wouldn't be paying for itself until 2024. Mm-hmm. So even though they're doing a little bit better than expected, they're still losing a lot of money. But I just think the way things work in this world is if Disney needs cash, there will be a line out the door of people waiting to give that to them for a piece of the future profits.
Yeah, someone wants to be the investor that saved Disney.
Yeah.
Definitely, but the more they have investors, the less they have control.
Sure. Elon Musk is going to buy Disney.
Oh my God, what's going on? He'll
open the parks tomorrow, baby.
What's going on with him? He is like major quarantine brain. I don't know what's going on.
Would anyone have benefited more from just not having Twitter than him?
100. I can think of one or two people.
Okay.
But few.
He's in the top 5.
He's in the top 5 of like, I just let's stick to the TED Talk. And that's all I ever really want to know about you, Elon Musk. Because the more I know, the less I'm ever buying a Tesla. Not that I could buy a Tesla, but you never know. One day you got to dream, Spencer. Stop crushing my dreams, man. All right. You guys, thank you so much for sticking with us, for liking, subscribing, hitting that bell. Joe, tell them what that does.
Hey.
Joe, tell them what they win.
Hey, you know how we're all live streamers here and we're not asking for your money. We're just asking for you to hit a thumbs up for us. So hit it for us. Take 2 seconds. I'm waiting for you. Boop. And a lot of people ask like, hey, how can we support the show and blah, blah, blah. And engagement's the best way to do it. Hit like, share the thing, hit the bell for us. It helps.
It does help. And showing up in the first, Ryan has been teaching me, he's been my guru recently. Showing up in that first hour really, really does help, and commenting. And sometimes we'll get in there, we'll chat with you guys. I see Joe Starr in there sometimes. I see me in there sometimes. Spencer, you're a few and far between in those comments, but that's okay. It just makes those moments all the more special.
Well, I have so many aliases. You be the judge. Which one is me?
Sometimes I wonder with folks. Anyway, thank you. We also have a number of other very fun things for you to watch. You can watch this, which is our new recommendation series, voiced by our own Spencer GIlbert, but written by a number of wonderful people. I like to sometimes, when I see the initial script, guess who it is. And I'm not always right, but I can usually target Joe voice or Joe recommendations. For example, if Terrace House is mentioned, I'm clued in that Joe may have had a stab at this one. So you can watch this for recommendations for what to watch while you wait. Wonder Woman 1984. It's a really fun series. I like that one a ton. Also, today, in 1/2 hour, right after this program, you're going to be able to watch our very own Danielle Radford, which is why she's not with us today, speak with Zach Stentz to learn how to write a great comic book movie in our new series called Hey Fandom, which Hi Fandom, which means that you can ask your own questions. You can sign on and you can ask a text question if you're shy, or you can go and be on camera and ask your question of Zach Stentz. And Friday, that's tomorrow, an even bigger deal, which is that we're going to stream John Wick for you on Screen Junkies because we love you enough to share the violence in this time of need. I rewatched it the other day and it really is cathartic. We are before that going to do a Hey Fandom with Chad Stahelski, the director of John Wick. That will be, you can hit that description. There's a link in the description to sign up for that. You can ask your own questions of Chad on video, on text, however you like to do it. I'm going to be talking to him. I'm pretty excited because I am a huge John Wick fan. I've been waiting for that Continental and I got questions, man. But we want to hear your questions. So sign on, join us for that, to an AMA, a video AMA with Chad Stahelski live at 5 on Screen Junkies, followed directly by the screening of John Wick at 6 p.m. PST tomorrow night. It's very exciting, and we're doing all of this because we love you so much. The John Wick screening and Hey Fandom is in support of the Will Rogers Foundation, which is helping those theater workers who are furloughed right now. So that's actually a really awesome cause that we really, really believe in. A lot of people are out of work, as we've been talking about in entertainment at the moment. And our Hey Fandom with Zach is in support of Direct Relief, which is serving those medical workers right on the line of COVID. So please do participate. And now I'm done talking about that. And you know what we are going to talk about, Joe?
Yes.
One of your favorite topics, D&D movie. Sir, set this up for me. Tell me what's going on with the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Hang on, let me get my dice.
Oh, good.
Wow.
I'm still trying to get it so that we spend Fridays doing like 1 hour campaigns where Spencer and Danielle and I attempt to play D&D with you.
I would pay my own money to force Spencer in a position where he has to grit his teeth and play.
What's amazing is I thought you
play like characters. You're not yourself, right? Or do I play myself? Because that'd be fun.
I mean, yeah, I
guess you could play.
You could literally just be.
You could just be Spencer.
I'd be fine with that.
You'll be, but it'll be really weird because I'll be like a gnome, and then Danielle will probably be whatever Danielle chooses to be, and he'll be a bard. And
I'll be a comedy writer. Yeah,
just be a comedy writer. Like, why are you adventuring with us? I actually really want to.
Standing in the middle of a battle, going, "Can there be more?"
I'm trying to make it happen, people. I don't have a lot of power in the world, but I might have the power to make this happen.
Well, Roth, this story is Viva Variety. So Entertainment One signed a first look with Jeremy Latcham, who is from Marvel. He was a producer on Guardians of the Galaxy and a lot of their early big stuff. He recently did Bad Times at the El Real. He produced Spider-Man Homecoming. He produced The Avengers and Age of Ultron. So a big part of the MCU. His first project on his first look deal is the Dungeons and Dragons IP. So this is the first project for Entertainment One with Paramount since Entertainment One was bought by Hasbro. Dungeons and Dragons is a little piece of the Hasbro umbrella. So the property sort of joins the cinematic universe of G.I. Joe and Transformers and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's kind of all we know right now. It's a go ahead. I actually hadn't realized that. I mean, it's been a while since I've been there, but Warner Brothers had the license for the longest time and was back when they were still developing the King Arthur franchise. Just the first movie, the 5 films they were planning to do for the King Arthur franchise.
That worked out really well.
Oh, that turned out so well.
I loved the.
You got to build up to Arthur. Start with Galahad.
The fourth one I think is the best because it kind of dips in 3, but somehow they managed to modernize and give it a little grit. They hired.
It used to be a square table.
Can I sidebar for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
There's a book about King Arthur. It's pretty good. Just do that. If you're gonna make a weird, you don't have to go, oh man, what kind of story can we tell about King Arthur? Just do the book. Start with him as a kid named Wart and train him, and then he's a king. You can get 8 movies out of it anyway. So,
what about a series? Would you like a King Arthur series?
I like all King Arthur things, even if it's bad.
Did you read The Mists of Avalon?
I have not read The Mists of Avalon.
Then you don't know all King Arthur things. And in fact,
you know nothing, Joe Starr.
I love The Mists of Avalon. It's you'll be shocked to hear this. It is from the lady's perspective. So the lady in the lake is in it. We see who she is.
I want to see that. I'm reading Bernard Cromwell's trilogy right now. Anyway, it's pretty good. So there's not a whole lot.
Should we do the fantasy book club right here on SJU?
I think we should.
I could throw some stuff in there.
I'd be completely fine with the fun reading club. There's a pretty rough history of D&D on the small and the big screen. They did the movies with the Wayans brother in them, and they're rough. There's the old cartoon in the 80s, which was basically the idea Spencer just pitched for our game, where a real boy gets tossed into a Dungeons and Dragons land and meets a small unicorn named Uni.
Can we do a campaign of the cartoon? Can we play the characters in the cartoon and he's the small boy?
Let's do it. Only, Roth, you have to play the unicorn.
You have to play Uni.
And then they did the most recent thing I can think of is that they tried to adapt the Dragonlance books, which are kind of as close, or were as close before Dungeons and Dragons got super popular again, as a mainstream D&D thing as I think you get, or like a notable, like, oh, I know that name. And they did the first movie, they did an animated movie, and at some point it just lost all funding because the voice cast is ridiculously good. And then either they spent all the money on the actors or it lost all its funding, because then it's like really choppy flash animation done by students. It's rough. So I'm curious to see what this turns out to be.
Now-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. And then I have a pitch for Joe.
We're talking about D&D movie, right? Not King Arthur.
D&D.
Yeah, we're talking about
So-
D&D. Yeah.
I mean, isn't this the same trap that, but even worse, that video game movies fall into, where it's like it's different for you playing it? You know, they're like it's always different going through the game than it is to like watch somebody else play D&D.
Yes and no, in a way, right? I think that between D&D and video games, I think there's a difference where you're in a video game, you're sort of still sitting shotgun, like while the game tells you a story, more like a movie. And yeah, with D&D, I think there's like an experience of like building something with your friends around a table that would get lost simply.
Yeah, that makes it even more removed.
But there's enough lore. Like there's piles of it. There's too much. Like there's an insane amount that I think that there are. Not to downplay it, but I don't think it's a smart play to be like, oh, well, let's do something that plays to the hardcore D&D fans. Because while there's a lot, like that's not enough to open a movie to, you know. But there is enough lore. There are enough stories. There are enough different worlds and settings and stuff that there's a ton of different angles they could take with the thing.
Hey guys, I'm getting the message from Ryan that we have to wrap it up because he's got to actually go help with the Hey Fandom that Danielle's about to do at 12 o'clock today with Zach Stens. You're going to learn how to write a great comic book movie. I will be there. You will be there. Spencer will be there. Sarah will be there. I was a little worried that no Kat was going to show up today, but man, we can count on that, Sarah, to do the Lord's work.
I'm putting the link in the chat right now.
Link in the chat right now.
Putting the link in the chat. So please do come over, support Danielle Radford because we love her so much. It's going to be a really fun time. And then join us tomorrow for the John Wick, Chad Stahelski video AMA Hey Fandom, followed by John Wick screening live. But that said, I'm going to put a pin on this because Joe Starr, I want to keep talking about the D&D movie. We'll do it whenever we convene next. Thank you for the dice. Wow. Yeah, because I have a pitch for the D&D movie that I would like to make. I have an actual D&D movie pitch that I would like to pitch to you. And I also want to talk about where the Joe Manganiello movie sits in all of this. Like if he's attached as an actor to the one that we're talking about that's actually moving forward, or if that's just a whole other fever dream that he had in his basement. Don't know. We'll find out when we join you again.
All movies are fever dreams in someone's basement at some point.
Our world is a fever dream in a very specific person's butthole. Good. Join us. 20 minutes.